All right, everybody, away we go. Welcome to today's call. It is Friday, October the 25th of 2019, and this is the TRC sales training call. Again, always my favorite day of the week because we do all the hard work on the helpline and the mastermind with our mastermind members. And that always sets us up to have some fun talking about the sales part. And I mean that. You really have to get in the mode of having some fun when it comes to the sales part of this. Otherwise, it becomes a very difficult endeavor. So the key point here that I wanted to start off with as people roll in is that I think in sales, we're often looking so much at the telemarketing moment for conversion. We're looking so much at the in-home, for example, for the CMA or the listing presentation. In the field with buyers, we're starting to talk about how we take people around. But what about all the stuff in between? What about all that sales setup? And what was interesting yesterday when I did the campfire, and again, if you were a real estate team member, meaning you're in the outside sales department for one of the teams or companies that I coach, you need to be on those campfire calls. I know there's a fistful of regulars over there, but you need to be there because that's where we give you a global view of building your business and give you strategy. And yesterday, what was remarkable to me as I went through that, the first beat was, remember, this is not a job, it's a business. Even if you work for a team or a company that gives you quote unquote leads or helps you with your business by giving you appointments, it's still yours. And my favorite saying with my own team and with all of you at the Realty Classroom is nobody's coming for you. Nobody. So you need to understand that this is your business opportunity. I'll even, for my Americans who know the American dream term, Canadian dream term, North American dream, is to own your own business and to have that creative freedom, that freedom to live the life you want, still make a living. And that's intoxicating. And that's a really cool concept to be able to wrap your head around. The problem with it is it's just enough freedom to make it really difficult for you to make any progress oftentimes when you don't know what to do. And I think that's a really scary spot for me as a coach to make sure, man, am I doing my best job to tell you that this is business? So sales is one component of that. If you look at what I went through yesterday, it's sales way down the list. In other words, you have to recognize it's a business, so you need a vision for that. How much money does it gross? Who do you have to become? And Gerber talks about this tripolar personality. You have to be a visionary, a manager, and the salesperson or technician. So you come down to that and you say, okay, great. What do I do now? Well, you have to let people know that you're in business. That's called marketing. And then the purpose of marketing is to find people that you don't know or the ones that you do, get them into your database where they are receiving communication. And that's where this really, really, as a salesperson, becomes critical. Most of you struggle with the concept of how can I eventually make this steady, predictable, and sustainable? How do you ever get to that point where it's sustainable? Well, it's that communication stage with people that made it as far as being inside your database. And database is not about this concept of being out there and saying, I need this technical thing, right? That's not what this is. We're not going out there and making this about software. We're saying, look, it's about the process through which you go, right? So in other words, if you are going to go through a sales process with somebody, how do they travel along that process? Not just what do I say when I'm on the phone and I pick the phone up way back here at marketing and try to get them in. And then all of a sudden, miraculously, what? You're in their house? Miraculously, you're in the field showing them properties. No, there's this huge chunk in between that telemarketing moment where they're not ready to go. And when they are ready to go, even for an appointment, there's this huge gap. And it's a vacuum, especially if you're brand new. It's completely empty. Oftentimes, top producers, they fill it, empty it, and look back and go, oops. So that's a huge piece of the sale, is the setup. See, nobody really wants to talk about the setup for the sale. The sale itself is actually in the field. You've actually listed the property already. A co-broke or direct buyer's coming over. You're showing the property. Somebody wants to write up an offer, negotiate it. That's the real hardcore sale part. But what about all the buildup that leads there? That's the sale setup. And so you have to understand that if you're going to be responsible to yourself, you have to ask yourself, am I spending enough time getting people into that sales setup phase? And am I properly communicating with them? Because oftentimes people will ask me, well, I liked the introductory script, for example, with expireds, but now what? Now what do I do? How do I continue that sales cycle with that person? And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that, but I will open up the mics first, and we'll go from there. So remember, when I open up the microphones today, please police yourself if it's in a loud spot. But more importantly, please participate. These calls are predicated on you telling me what's on your mind, what you're struggling with, and so that I can answer your question. Don't always wait in the bleachers, as I like to say, for everybody else's question to be relevant to you. It's not how you learn. You have to be aggressive. I was just talking to my son about this, about hockey. You can't wait for your line mates to make the perfect shot after you pass the puck. You have to go make something happen, right? So try to make things happen for yourself in this call today when I open this up. And please be aggressive for yourself. It's okay, by the way, to be selfish in that context. It really matters, all right? So let me just do one more thing here. And I will open up these mics, and I'm going to see who has a question. And then I'm going to come back to the subject I opened with, okay? All right, let's go. Okay, check. Mics are all open. Anybody want to weigh in with me here first? Got a couple of noisy mics. Lucy, Charlie Egan, your mics are a little bit loud, so unless you want to ask me something, just star six me or mute your mic, and we'll be good to go. Okay, come on, guys. I need some help here. Questions. Lauren, yep. Go ahead, Tanyel, you're up. Charlie, I got to mute your mic there for a second, too. So whoever, Lucy, I had to mute your mic, and Charlie Egan, I had to mute yours. I can come back and open them up because I don't like to do that. ISA, that's yours, Adam. Okay, good. We got Lucy. I'll come back and get her. I see that on Facebook. Good. And you emailed me her calls? Good, thank you. I'll be on that. Tanyel, you're first, and then we're going to go over Lucy's calls for Adam next. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to keep a buyer, or if I should keep a buyer in my pipeline.
Okay, good.
About 8 months ago, probably a little bit more than that, we went out looking. She got pre-approved, but did not want to pay the monthly mortgage amount.
Okay.
So we sat down. We had a chit chat about what she was comfortable paying. I showed her the sold. Based on that price point, and she decided to wait. We started back up about 2 months ago, and as we're sitting there writing an offer on a new build, she tells me that she switched jobs.
Okay.
So the income that she had prior to was drastically reduced because she doesn't have the overtime anymore. So it lowered her price point by a good $70,000.
Okay. How do you know that? Did the person that pre-qualified her do that?
Yeah, we went to 2 different lenders to see, if either one of them could get her bumped up, if they could count, if the employer would go back and say, hey, yeah, she's going to get overtime. We can count this. And neither one of them could do it.
Okay.
She does not get any overtime right now because she's so new.
Okay. All right. So she's she's back on hold. I mean, there's no reason to dump this gal. I mean, that's where you're going with it. So I don't know that. What's that?
She doesn't want to. She doesn't want to. We're not necessarily back on hold. There's maybe 3 or 4 properties that are currently available that she can afford.
Good.
Based on what she's approved for.
Good.
The issue is that she doesn't want them. She basically wants a champagne property, and she's got a beer budget.
Yeah, well, we know that. We've talked about her before. I mean, I remember the case study. So we've talked about her before, and I get it. But again, what I want from you is the lean in. I want your life to be more difficult with some of these buyers. I want it to be, and because I want you to be able to learn how to lean into the most difficult ones, go face to face, and that's been a common theme here in the sales training for the last 3 weeks. Is what do I do when it's difficult, right? And the answer is you lean in. Right? That's what it is. You lean in, you go face to face, you talk to these people, right? That's what you do. So I think that becomes the issue here, is that you've got to really lean into these things that are difficult moments and go face to face. So when's the last time you were face to face with this gal?
Last week. We were face to face. We sat down over coffee after looking at one of the properties.
Good.
And she said, well, the property is okay, but I want it in move-in condition, and this one needs work.
Okay.
So we looked, I brought my laptop, we sat down, we looked at everything else that was available in her price range, which was one other property.
Yeah.
And she said it was too far.
Okay.
So the way I left it was, okay, I've got you on the drip, I will monitor it, and let's regroup. I'm supposed to meet with her again. So I just wanted some advice on, what I can do to, I don't know, service her, but not make her feel, alienated, or not make her feel like she's settling.
Yeah, well,
possible.
Yeah, well, again, I don't know that what she's asking for is wildly unreasonable, if it's out there. Here's the logic of the moment why I wanted you to meet with her. That she made the situation more difficult on herself, but that's her life. She got a better job. She got a different job. It is what it is. So it puts a little bit more pressure. Good news is, I think the general marketplace, and my guess is in Colorado, it'll cool off, right? Because it is. There'll be more product that comes on, and there'll be opportunities, and you're just going to have to, because she's at the lower end of the range, if I recall correctly, and it's tough to find these things that are in good shape, they're ready to go, that won't have multiple bids on them. So I get it. I get exactly where you're at, what your dilemma is. There's a couple things I'll say here to help you. I think the patience that you can have from her will come if you don't have the sense of one dealitis, right? See, once we invest a lot of time in one deal, it's difficult. We're frustrated. We want her to just be realistic. She's going through a process, but that's an important deal to us. We get caught up in that one deal-itis feeling. So this would be a lot easier for you if this wasn't the only deal, in your mindset. So if you were dealing with 4 or 5 different deals at once, it takes the pressure off of that one to be more patient. I have a very similar situation. I'm dealing with some folks that I really like. A couple about my age, and they've really been digging in, trying to find something. We missed out on something, and my own frustration for them is diminished or lessened by the fact that I'm super busy with 4 or 5 other deals. So we're able to just be patient as things come on. We vet them one by one. So I think that sense of what I was talking about at the beginning of the call, filling up your pipeline with more conversations than this one. It's interesting. This gal's come up a bunch of times for you. So, and again, what's interesting is I'd have to go back and listen to the recording of exactly what you just said to me, but it was almost as if you wanted to punt her. And that's not the right thing, right? This is not somebody who's abusing your time. This is not somebody who's not trying to struggle through it. It's just that she's at that entry-level mindset where she doesn't quite get it. So her process is longer. Her process is more of a burden on you. It's more of a challenge to your patience. But I still think you have to persevere. I've had those too where, there's been times where I can think of a very particular seller that Laura was like, we got to get rid of this seller. And I'm like, man, I don't know. This is a calling. Something just doesn't. She's still listening to me. She's kicking and screaming, but she's a real reason to move. Her husband was, deathly ill and on a deathbed, literally sitting in one of the rooms. She was smoked like a chimney. It was brutal to go in there and show it. But I don't know, Tanyel. There was a higher calling in that moment, and I think you sort of there. It's not as dramatic as the case I just gave you for myself, but there's a calling in here that you're supposed to persevere more than this. So you're supposed to give her a little bit more attention than the rest, and it will balance itself out. There will be deals that you feel like you're on grease skids and they were easy, so it evens itself out. But I would do the best job for her by digging in and really getting there. But I would still be coaching her along in that process to say, look, we're not going to get it perfectly turnkey. So this might be the opportunity, for you to go in there. Why are you so hung up on it being turnkey? What are you worried about? Is there something I could help with? See, those are the.
Yeah. We talked about that, and she has a daughter that's coming here from Africa, and she's by herself, so she's gonna be a single mom, and she wants like everything perfect for her daughter, which I get.
Yeah.
It's just she's at $220,000. Doesn't want a townhome, and that's about all it's gonna buy, and doesn't want to fix her up or doesn't want to do any cosmetic work. Yeah. So we're pretty much just sitting, and she's got a deadline of February.
Yeah. All right. Well. Again, you have to be giving her the solds and evidence. You can't muscle her along.
She does. She's getting them.
Okay. And you have to keep talking to her to see if she's progressing. Do I think at some point in time, she makes a compromise? Yeah, the closer it gets to the deadline, as long as you exhaust all the properties between now and then and show her that, and you don't stop. See, that's what I was saying about that gap earlier in the call when I started today. That gap from when we start with somebody to when they actually consummate a deal, the communication and the level of it is really important there. So to make sure that you don't get cheated on or she doesn't lose faith in you, you have to work extra hard between now and closer to February, where you're showing her, say, look, I'm going to do my darndest to find you as close to this as I can get. I want to warn you, we might not be able to find it. But to make you feel good that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, I'm going to give you every one of the properties that comes on and sells in that price range. And we will see, was it a townhome or was it a house? Was it turnkey? Was it not? Right? Because if nothing's coming in that range, then there's going to have to be some compromise if you're going to meet this February deadline. So it's that constant delivery. And this is interesting because this subject really, I think, is the most teachable moment for my Griffin Realty Group agents, my TRC agents. We just don't really obsess enough about that piece of the sales process through delivery of information that helps them make the decision themselves, right? See, we get frustrated knowing. We know a lot as professionals about what the money buys and doesn't buy, but we don't know everything. You don't know which bus is coming around the corner, what it looks like. You don't know for certain yet that she doesn't have a generally realistic, idea for the diamond in the rough. And she still has time till February. So before you make absolute statements in your head, leave yourself open to the possibility. Yes, probability is low, but it's possible, isn't it? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and everything she sends me, because I know she's serious. She's sending me, hey, what about this? Can I do a modular? Can I go this route? And every time she does, I'll say, give me, let me look into it for you.
Good.
I will get the information you
Good
need,
answer.
and I do.
Good answer. Good answer. Because you have to be of service heavily to exhaust all these things. That's your concierge level service while she's having her process. And she has to have her process. She cannot be muscled into thinking this thing doesn't exist. Now, the reason why you wouldn't fire her, she has a real reason to move. Tell me more about that. See, that's one of the things we talked about this yesterday in the mastermind. The development of an avatar. Will Daly was good. He was very good yesterday because he pushed back a little bit on this concept. Well, I'm in the geography and I know this, so why do I need to go deeper? I know he wasn't saying that explicitly, but that's the way I interpreted it. See, a real reason to move is a deeper definition of my avatar. And I would hope all of yours. They need a real reason to move. Because if they don't, it becomes this strange procrastination in their head that it's sort of a want, but it's not a need. They need to have to do something at some point in time, it turns out. And that becomes the ultimate avatar. So we need to go deeper into, and again, it's a concept of motivation. Well, motivation is around a need to, you can tell me you're a 10. That's great. But why do you need to do it? Right? So connecting them, Brian Tracy, again, I bring him up a lot in the sales training call because I learned it from one of his books. Zero-based thinking is the key. You bring her back saying, now remember, we got to get from here to there by February, right? Nothing's changed there, right? So you keep asking her, nothing's changed there. We still need to be there by then, right? So let's exhaust every possibility we can and see if we're going to have to make some compromises. Then you and I can talk about which compromises are easier to swallow. This is all communicative process, right? But one of the things I probably do more subtly at this point in my career, and I should be explicit with you about it, is that I will plant those seeds for where I'm trying to lead her in her own logic. See, people will support what they help create. You hear me say that all the time, right? So if they are co-creating this relationship, this professional relationship around more and more and more information that's pertinent to them, okay, then they'll support it. In other words, they won't just get mad at you, cheat on you, and go out and do something stupid impetuously, as long as they're co-creating this relationship, but around what? Data. You must have it around reality. Here's really what's sold. Like, come sit with me. I'll meet you at the coffee shop. Let's open up MLS directly with me sitting in front of you. Let's go through the data. Let's take a look at it. Let's exhaust it. And let's see if there are any things we can compromise on and still get you 95% of the way there. By the way, here's one of those seeds. Nobody really gets 100%. There's always a little bit of a 5%, 10% blind leap of faith in the end that this is close enough and these are things you can work on because we still have this deadline we have to meet. So perfect could hurt us. That's the seed to plant about reality. And it's not muscling. They don't feel muscled if you do it that way. It's just the reality. Say, look, I'm sitting here. I'll often say this to my clients in the middle of a negotiation is, look, I'm here's exactly what's happening. Here's what I just said. So many times I will cut and paste an email or forward an email, or I'll cut and paste a text or forward a text. I will transparently show them precisely what I'm saying in a moment so that they feel well represented, that their interests are truly there so that they can make it say, oh, well, he said this for me. I get it. He did. I trust him even deeper now. I get it. Now I'm going to listen to him and I am going to make that adjustment or compromise. Everything's a compromise, Tanya. Everything. This whole thing is a compromise. We start off idealistically trying to get or buy what we want, and realistically comes pretty close, right? It's never perfect, but it's our job as the best guides to be reading how they'll do that. And again, if she's a first-time home buyer, it's a different avatar. She's less used to understanding compromise and more paranoid, perhaps, in general on that side of the curve, meaning the side of if I take the median sized house or the average house, somebody down that end who's doing this, especially for the first time, their sense of being taken advantage of is highly, highly agitated, right? They're more worried about that than anybody else. And the math matters more to them than somebody who might be at the higher range, who's putting a lot more money down, who's done this before. So the idea is to take a step back and say, well, what type of a person is this when it comes to the context of money and worry and the combination of all those things? And how do I have to lean in differently for that person versus the others? Don't get me wrong. I have people that are putting a lot of money down. And I have a negotiation going on like that. But guy's a professional negotiator. That's what he does for a living. Just being patient for the whole process. Just patient. I'm not worried about losing the house. It'll either come to us or it won't come to us, right? That's it. So that detachment from the outcome, but still moving the agenda along. Because if this person wants that house, it's my job to move the agenda along and continuously support it at the right cadence. So your cadence here, I think, is fine. It's interesting you bring her up again, and I would ask why. Why are you bringing her up again? And why did you?
I think she's getting a little frustrated. One thing I discovered was that she was struggling with English. She speaks French. I'm not fluent, but I speak some French. But reading, she was struggling with. So then I started to make sure that when I would send her emails or texts, I would put it in French so she could understand what was coming across. And that's when I got that, she was saying, I really want this to happen. I really want to do this because my daughter's going to be coming soon and my lease is ending. So she's got like a fire under her, and she's telling me, I want this to happen. And I'm feeling a little like, Danny, I can't force it to happen. I'm not sure how to get her there.
The way you're doing it. What's wrong with the way you're doing it?
I didn't think there was, but like I said, she's a little frustrated. I don't want to lose her.
Okay, well, hold on. Stop right there. Stop right there. Are you afraid to say that explicitly to her? Hold on. Have you ever asked her, are you frustrated because you sounded?
Yes.
And?
Yes. And
have you done it recently?
Yes, when we sat down a week ago, and she said she was frustrated.
Okay. About? Did you ask her?
Because we weren't finding anything, and so she said I guess had talked to another realtor, and this other realtor told her about modulars, and she said, "Why didn't you tell me about modulars?"
Good question. Why not?
And I said that's a perfectly good question. I said the reason is because your financing won't allow for them. I said, that's why they're not included in the search. If I had have known that was important to you, I could have told you earlier. But she can't do it, Danny. She doesn't have the money, and
Okay,
she's the
good.
type of finance.
So good answer. Hold on. Just keep it logical. Good answer. What did she say when you told her that?
She said, okay, thank you.
Okay.
And that's all she said.
Okay, good. And say, look, you don't need to go shopping to other realtors. You can ask me any of this stuff, but I'm already aware of your financial situation. Okay. And here, I'm going to lean back in. Why are you trying to get something so turnkey and perfect? You've seen some fabulous places to live. Isn't it more about walking out the front door and taking a left or right and being in a location that you'd like to be in? Just keep leading the witness to the conclusion. I mean, if you think you're in danger of losing her, lean in a little bit more. Don't withdraw. She'll cheat on you.
Okay.
And just make sure.
Yeah, that's why I set up the meeting this weekend.
Tanyelle, you better make sure you're not missing any properties.
I'm not. Danny, I comb it every single day. And like I said, she's at 220. She can't pay more than $125 a month HOAs, and her taxes can't be more than $75 a month.
Okay. And have you seen stuff that fits that bill?
In the whole metro area, in over 40,000 properties.
Yes or no?
Only 3.
Yes or no?
3.
Yeah, yes or no?
3.
You're being too dramatic about it. Okay. Yes or no? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And the 3 came up when?
They've been on the market for about 2 weeks. So They came up 2 weeks ago.
Okay. So there you go. They were right there in front of her and they fit it. So you sound the fire alarm. You create that sense of urgency. Say, look, you want to meet this deadline and here are these things. But there's only been 3 and you're kicking them away. Why? Why do you keep doing that? Okay. So let's move off of it. Hold on. Let's move off of it. You and I will talk a little bit more about it. I got to move on, but I think you got my point. My point is I'd lean in a little bit more. There's only 3.
Okay.
The time is coming. You got to grab her a little bit more by the lapels and say, listen, you got to listen to me a little bit closer. Okay. You're not going to get the perfect house. This is a really difficult financial thing to find, but we can get you there. But you just got to start to open yourself up to doing a little bit of cleanup. Let's focus more on the location than we do having the perfect house. Is this where you want to live? See these 3, 1, 2, 3. You could have done any of them. This could be over now. You could have done any of them. What was so bad about these? Okay. And you just really kind of stick her nose right into what she can actually afford. Otherwise, the tail's wagging the dog, and that's no good. Right?
Yeah. Gotcha.
Good job, though. This is a big lesson in your own patience. But you have one dealitis, my dear. Fill up your pipeline. Okay?
Okay.
Yep. Fill up your pipeline. Remember, avatar matters because the reason you're in this in the first place, this is like a barely can do it deal. Right?
Right.
How'd you get there? Right? That's a marketing issue.
Yeah.
That's a marketing issue. It's a targeting issue. Right? I mean, we can serve the public, but you're not going to make much of a living if everything's the nearly impossible. It's not impossible, but it's nearly. So you got to make your adjustments in the other part of your book of business. Who you bring in matters. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay, bravo. Good work, though. Thanks for bringing it up. All right, here we go. Lucy, I got to open up your microphone here so that I had you closed off before, unless she called back in. Adam, it looks like Lucy was there and then hung up.
I called in.
Oh, there
Sorry.
you go. There you go, darling.
I'm here.
How are you? Welcome, by the way. Thrilled to have you.
I'm good. Thank you.
Yep. Nice looking resume that we saw, and welcome. Sounds like, and we'll talk more one-on-one, but let's get right after this today. And I know you've got some bias with past scripting and stuff like this, so this is nothing more than to try to get a feeling for it. Adam's thrilled with your early success, and so am I. So let's see. I'll let you choose. I've got 3 of them here. Anyone in particular you want me to go for first?
You can honestly just all of them, I guess.
All right, cool.
I mean, I really just want the feedback and what
Cool.
I need to do different, especially because I've done similar calls before, but this is just, I guess I should say it's a little bit out of my comfort zone.
Good.
It's a different approach that I'm using. So
Good.
I'm kind of interested in hearing what you have to say about it. And if I need to change something up, any feedback is great.
Good. Just in your own words, briefly, what is the difference between what you did technique-wise and what you're doing?
So it's just more of the, I guess I should say going right into the script. So assuming that that person is, for example, I'm calling you and I'm assuming it's Danny on that phone versus asking for Danny.
Got it. Okay.
So that was something that was really different. And I kind of kept, finding myself almost asking, but then I would just assume. And it's something that I'm still trying to work on, and I need to perfect it. But I also like the feedback to see, if I need to change anything up.
Yeah, well, what matters most, Lucy, is the other side of the conversation, right? I mean, we're all theoretical until we hear both sides of the conversation and we make the adjustments there, right? We want this to be as organized. I don't like to say scripted because it takes away your ability to be a professional. However, having said that, if there is a methodology or a technique that we crack a code on that we find works that serves the consumer, we better stick to that, especially earlier in the phone call. So the concept is we don't want to just try to muscle somebody through this. You heard me just say that in that outside sales situation too. We're not trying to muscle people. That's the big difference with what maybe you were used to versus what we're trying to do here. We're trying to be of value, but we're not trying to lose control of it and sound very esoteric and squishy. Like we have a job to do here, right? And we want you to be successful. So let's take a look at it with that little backdrop and we'll see what adjustments we can make.
Hi, Joshua. Hi, Joshua.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hi there. This is Lucy from Paradigm Realty. The reason I'm calling you is because I did see your beautiful house today, and I had noticed that it didn't sell. I just wanted to see if I could possibly send you some information that might help you sell it the next time. Would that possibly be okay?
No, I'm not trying to sell my house. Not in like the next 2 years. So.
Okay, we're talking about the house off of Cedar Crest Court because I had noticed you had it listed at some point within the last year, maybe. Are you waiting to possibly sell it in 2 years, or?
Hey, a real quick tip here. A very quick, write this down too before, because I don't want to lose my train of thought there on it. Did your plans change? That's it. Nice and simple, right? Oh, why? Did your plans change? Follow me, Lucy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in other words, he starts to go off and now you're struggling to get him there. And it's almost like you're looking back and, well, when did this guy sell? And it's simple. Oh, really? Did your plans change? Right? And then you throw in, did your plans change? Because I saw you trying to sell it last year. Right? So let this guy read his mind out loud to you is the key. Right?
Hockey net.
Hang on. Guys, hang on. Guys, when you come into the phone call, the mics are live. I don't mind you talking about something else, but you have to mute your mic. All right? Lucy, you with me?
I'm here.
Okay, good. I just had to mute a mic. So the bottom line there is that the adjustment is quite simple. It's just a good question so we don't lose it. Your intro, like a pro. Wow. Like a pro. There's a weird delay in the beginning. We have to figure out whether that's a technical thing or not. But I just thought your tone, your pace was bravo. 5 gold stars for somebody who's just getting used to doing this way. I thought that was a true testimony to your background and your resume. So good job there. But you can see right in that second beat, you're feeling a little bit lost here, right? But I like it. You're tenacious. You're tenacious. You're not caving in. Let's listen to the rest of it.
Well, I mean, at the time I was trying to sell it because I was expecting the interest rate to go up in the future, but I mean the whole scene of the economics it had just changed, so I'll just keep my house.
Gotcha. Well, I know rates and everything have recently changed. I know it like I'm going to say maybe a month ago when a lot of people were trying to refinance, it was kind of at the peak. Now it has dropped. So, I mean, if you're looking to at least kind of get some information, if you've kind of played around the idea of, hey, I might want to sell it. I kind of want to see what I'm going.
Oh, hang on. Stopped for some reason there. Let's see if we can get it going again. Can you guys all hear me? Hoping I didn't have an internet problem here.
No, I hear you.
Yeah, weird. Yeah. Yeah, just stopped there. See if we can get it going again. Hang on. Sorry about that. Don't know what happened.
Changed. I know it like I'm going to say revenue. It's just free information. It's called a house seller course. And what it does is it's going to give you a lot of, just information in regards to your home and what's going on in the area. So it does give you, kind of just a breakdown of numbers.
Okay, this is good. I mean, for a rookie trying to feel her way through here, I get it. You know what I mean? But it's you. Here's what I learned this once upon a time ago in 2014 when I got the wonderful privilege of filming 8 episodes for A&E, and they controlled our behavior per episode. And the term was beats. You just need to get your beats refined, right? So your beat is, hey, saw that this thing happened to you, and I wanted to send this thing out to you. Okay. And that's your first beat. Would that be okay? You're asking permission. So I think you confuse the permission with, asking almost like, is this Josh? Or you're making a bigger deal of that than I think. Technique wise, you're very good at that. It was not even an issue for me the way you thought it was. But what becomes the issue in your mind is, well, I've never asked permission to send something. I think you confused the beginning with that piece. It's just that, may I do that? Like, it's a very rhetorical, logical situation. I saw your beautiful house online. I noticed it didn't sell, and I wanted to send you some information to help you sell it the next time, whenever that might be. May I do that? It's very logical, right? So don't make a big deal of permission marketing. It's all around everywhere. It's the double opt-in. It's Seth Godin, Godin, wrote a book about it, permission marketing, right? So you're asking permission, and what better than somebody says, sure, send it over. That's beat number 1. We just want to get that direct mail marketing out there, because when we do, when it arrives, it changes the relationship with the prospect. Okay? It changes. Everybody's always been trying to speed into the appointment. If the appointment is there on this phone call, you will know it after the first beat. You'll know, and you can still close for it. But everybody's in such a hurry to ask for the appointment. Like, if we really sat and thought logically, that's muscling people into an appointment, which doesn't always necessarily go well. But what goes well is, may I send you some information and I'll help you sell it the next time? That changes the relationship on the phone. So that first beat is so that he'll listen and lean in. It's a different approach. It's called permission marketing. It's not new. It's just different to this cold calling, robo-calling mentality where you better muscle me into the house or I'll fire you, right? It's stupid. So now, in my opinion is pretty strong when it comes to that. So now you come to this next beat, and this is where, like, he didn't really ask what was in it, so you're not obligated to go deeply into it. But what you should do is get one of these packages and lay it out in front of you as if you just received it. In fact, have one packaged up, have it sent to your house, go home, Lucy, open it up, read the cover letter, and look what's in there. So that you ride along this beam of light, this assembly line, experiencing what's there, and you truly become attached to the value. Hey, Lucy, what I'm going to send you is our 7 Steps to Home Seller Success course. It's really helpful, goes in depth. You'll see how to get set up better the next time. And it also includes a bunch of properties around you that sold in this price range. So you can see what people were getting for their properties. Done. Those are beats. Boom, boom. And in fact, if you saw the package, cover letter explaining it, properties, which is what they want, pictures and details of properties that sold when they didn't, and what they need, which they didn't ask for, but it's a course. And a course is a little strong. Say our plan's even better. And the plan that we use with our own clients when we help them, we'll just give it to you. I mean, that's a big deal, right? So get those beats down a little bit tighter. Let's keep listening to this one.
Okay. Pretty much what your competition is, and then what the other homes are looking like. So if there are properties that are selling in your area that kind of match what your house is looking at, it's just more numbers that we're talking here. So I can at least send it to you just so you can kind of get an idea. And if it's something that, hey, it looks good on paper, you kind of want to know a little bit more. Again, there's no obligation. You definitely don't have to sell, but at least if you want some free information on it, just to kind of see what the house looks like now, we could at least send it out to you at Cedar Crest Court, and then I can touch base with you in a week once.
That's weird. I don't know what happens. We keep stopping here. See, what's tough about this too? The second beat to this conversation because it's new to you, that's the only reason. I'll guarantee that you'll probably send me one next week that's already refined. I can hear the professionalism. But now all the word whiskers are sneaking in. You know, you know, you
Yeah.
know, you know what I mean? Those are word whiskers. They're fillers because you're trying to find the storyline here, which is great that we get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just trying to find your story. I get it. But because we can
Yeah,
slow it down,
exactly.
yeah, and that's not you. You don't speak like that. I can tell. So as soon as you get used to it, you did a good job though. You're swaying him. See, what I really like about this is even in spite of the lack of your experience doing this, there was this natural tendency to lean in and not let this guy go and sell him on the value of the package. I'll take it. I'll take it. I like the fight because you're getting it out the door and you have him leaning back in. I mean, he's got a bizarre story about what he was trying to do and not do with interest rates. Like, what do you have, an adjustable rate mortgage that's going to go up? Is that what you're worried about? Would you like to talk to our lender? See, as experience comes along, you'll be able to hear those problems or challenges or pain points and you'll be able to give a quick beat right back. Oh, really? What? Why? Were you worried? Was your mortgage adjustable and it was going up? You know what I mean? Something simple to just try to listen to why he was doing it, ask another question about that reason, and let him speak. You might reveal things, right? So
Mhm.
let me try to get this one going again. Let me just see where we were.
Space with you in a week once we send it out to you, and then see if it's even something you want to even tackle again.
Sure, yeah, I can check the price of the house again. I mean, I can. Yeah.
Hey, it doesn't hurt. It's always good to know, what you're currently looking at now, especially.
Okay.
How long ago did you have it listed, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I think it was last year, so like a year ago. Yes.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So a lot has changed within a year, so it's always good to just reevaluate what it currently is at. But yeah, let me send it to, and let me just verify I have the address at.
Okay, good job. It's again getting connected to what you're sending, because then I'm going to teach you how to upsell this, which means what? What we're sending them is a static list of what has sold around them more recently. So you're right in what you're saying. I'm going to give you a more updated vision of what's happening for similar properties, right? Now, Adam hasn't been out to the property, so we'll do the best that we can to send you this list and our plan. So again, two things that I really want you to write down. Beat one is I'm going to send you the pictures and details of properties that sold recently around you. Beat two, I'm going to send you our 7-step plan that we use with our own clients. Then I'm going to call you in a week, beat three, to make sure you got it. But you don't have to go into all this, and then you'll see, and you don't need all that. Just don't need it. The beat that this call is intended to do is just get him to say yes, to give you permission to send him these materials, which obviously is a form of marketing the service, right? So first beat. Now when I call him back, I say, hey, Joshua, it's Lucy. Just call him back to make sure that you got that. Yes, I did. Great. Did you have a chance to go through it yet? I did. What'd you think about some of those prices? Now let him talk about what he thinks. Did that stimulate him to take? You let him talk about the package if he took it. And if not, say, hey, listen, make sure you got it, right? Take a look at it. Call you back a couple days, because we want him to digest it, because it's going to change your position with him. You're going to go from this voice to this person who is on the other end of sending him this gift, right? Which is the law of reciprocity. Now he's going to give back more conversation. He's going to give you a little bit more trust. You've been professionalized, right? So now you say, after you hear how he reacts to the package, hey, I was talking to the broker here, Adam, about your property, and he loves to know what's, off market. And so I was wondering if he could come by and take the nickel tour sometime with you. Now, depending on, some people just roll into the natural, sure, no problem. And I know when he comes there, he'll be able to add a few insights to your personal situation. So see, we add a little benefit. The benefit of having Adam over, Adam's curious. He wanted to see what was there. He likes to know what's off market, just in case he has some. But don't oversell that, by the way. I don't like that. It's a lie. But he does like to know what's off market. That's our job, to see what is out there for inventory. And the benefit to you will be, when he comes, he'll be able to see physically what it is, and he'll give you some tips, and he'll tell you what he thinks. Now Adam goes out fully ready to give a full-blown, detailed evaluation of the guy's situation, including price. He goes out like a listing presentation. And your job is check the box, right? Now he comes back with harvested information, say, Josh is a great guy, but he doesn't really have a real need to move right now, but he might in the next 6 months. So I upsold him to what? To getting properties as they sell. We gave him the static sheet, but now as they sell over the next 6 months, they'll be right in his inbox. Now I have this continuity of information going to him over time, so that now I have another reason to call to discuss property specifics. I can pick up the phone and say, hey, you haven't talked to you in a month. I noticed a couple that came through to you, and one of them was really right next to you, right? Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Adam has just asked me another thing here. Let's go to a point where we look at this and we say, all right, so let's go back to the next stage. Let's say that you get this. He wants me to talk to you about the qualifying questionnaire. Okay. So
Okay.
that's really important too. See, again, this is all the formulaic stuff that we want to say, all right, now let's presume that the guy is open to having Adam come over there. Wonderful. Let me just ask you a few more detailed questions, because I think he's going to want to know in detail so that he can, come over and add some more value to you. So you go through this. So the qualifying questionnaire, Adam has, access to it. He can give it to you. But the flow is really just and you were doing this almost, but now you're deeper. Now it's appropriate. So let me just get this down. So tell me again the style of the property here, and you should have this up in front of you at this point in time. Don't be like, hey, when did you do this again, and what kind of happened? And you don't need to do that when we have MLS right in front of us. Look it up, get in there, have it right in front of you, and say, so it looks like it was a ranch, right? And you're just getting that tennis match going. We're volleying, we're warming up, right? So it looks like it was a ranch. Was there a finished basement? Okay, great. And originally, refresh me, why were you thinking about selling again? Okay. And back then, a year ago, how motivated would you say you were on a scale of 1 to 10? And when did you buy it? What did you pay for it? Have you done any upgrading? What's the best feature? What do you like most about living there? Right? What do you think the property's worth? What do you think it's worth? If these are really critical questions, and they might make you feel uncomfortable, but you have such a beautiful conversational tone. Make this the conversation. But get this information. Why? We are defining whether this is the right seller avatar. An avatar equals ideal client. Is this the kind of guy that we really, really want to do business with? And as he reveals more about his situation and the property, see, it's a little bit of a mix. We're digging in, trying to get him to tell us, well, what was your real need for selling this, and how motivated were you? And what did you think it was worth? And why did you think it was worth that? Did you do some upgrading? So that's really the narrative that underlies this. But you really need to look at this questionnaire and flow through it, because this is the questionnaire that you're giving to Adam, who's going over for the nickel tour with a full-blown package ready to go. So he's fully prepared when he walks in the door to deal with, he shouldn't be guessing in the house either. You follow me?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And a lot of the times with this technique, because you're building relationship differently, there's no competition. I know that sounds weird, but unless this guy has just come off the market and he's definitely interviewing multiple people, well, then that matters. That's what we get into. Have you interviewed other agents about selling the home? Yes. Great. How many? When? Who? When would be a convenient time for us to come over? Are there any other decision makers? Hey, all we ask is that if you're going to interview other people, let us come in last. And please don't list with anybody till we come in, because we do a really comprehensive job and we want to be compared to everybody, but we just don't want to do this work and then not have a chance to use it. So that's the next level if he's in a cattle call. But I think you're going to find a lot of the time that, see, this guy was last year. How many people do you think are talking to Joshua besides Lucy?
Very slim.
Zero. I'll guess. Zero, right? So, because it didn't sound like it. All right, let's move on to the next one so I don't run out of time. Here we go.
Hello? Hi, Alice?
Yes.
Hi, this is Lucy from Paradigm Realty. The reason I'm calling you is because I had noticed your beautiful home, and I had noticed it didn't sell, and I just wanted to see if I could possibly send you some information that might help you sell it the next time.
Okay, like just say, I wanted to send you some information. May I do that? Autumn does this wonderfully. Autumn, who works on our team. That's where you.
That's what I'm saying. Like the first one went well, and then I went into a different one, and it just kind of like threw me off guard.
It's just simple. May I do that? That's it. That's it. You're so uncomfortable that you're defaulting to almost what we all do. You're babbling through it. When this is you can rely on us. Just follow the yellow brick system. May I do that? And stop talking. See, when we get nervous or uncomfortable, we tend to talk too much. And Autumn has a great technique for this too. Slow down almost artificially. Speak slower. It allows you to command the conversation. And it stops you from saying, right? You see what I'm saying? I'm doing it to you now. I'm slowing down. I'm thinking about what I'm saying. And I'm simply going to repeat. May I do that? Just slow it all down. There's no rush. I know that people tend to hang up on us, but if there's something in it for them, and you can get that across very quickly, you're in good shape. Follow?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Would it be okay if I send that over to you?
Oh, yeah. You're Lucy, you said?
Yes.
Very hard to say no to you, wasn't it? Permission marketing is an amazing thing. She's struggling to say no. Lucy, right? Because you hit her with some good logic.
Yes, Lucy.
Where do you live?
I'm with Paradigm Realty here in Temecula.
Oh, okay. And did you send me something recently in the mail?
No, I was asking if I could possibly send you some information about your home on Romero Drive.
Yeah, possibly is just a weird word. Lose that quickly, right?
Okay.
Of course it's possible. It's in my hands, and I wanted to sell it, but I just wanted your permission. May I do that? Repeat it again. Exactly. Repeat it again. No, it's something I have that will help you sell it the next time. And I wanted to send it to you right now. May I do that? There you go. Let's keep going.
Okay.
I had noticed it didn't sell, and I just wanted to reach out to you to see if I could send you some information that might help you sell it the next time.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Okay. Perfect.
Excellent.
And let me just verify I have the address as 33050.
Okay, good. I'm going to leave that one alone. I thought it was very good. You cut to the chase. Let me just listen to the last one, and then I've got to go to a Q&A here.
Well,
hi, Amy.
No, she's right here next to me. Can I ask her?
Yes, this is Lucy with Paradigm Realty. I just wanted to reach out to you. I had noticed your beautiful home online, and I saw that it didn't sell, and I just wanted to see if I could possibly send some information over that might help you sell it the next time. Would that be okay to send over?
She said yes.
Okay. Can I just verify the address really quick? Is it on Black?
All right, these are all good. I think the first one was a good test case for us because we were able to take you through the entirety of the thing. I'm not seeing anything wrong. I'd love to hear some of the follow-up calls to these two. Once they get it, make sure you record that. And remember, let's just give you some tips there. Hey, Joshua, it's Lucy calling. We talked last week. It's Lucy from Paradigm Realty calling you back. We talked last week about me sending you the information that would help you sell your house the next time. Did you receive it? Very simple, right? And did you get a chance to review it? What'd you think? Not did you have any questions, right? What did you think? When you saw the information, what'd you think? Think out loud with me. See, that's a question that allows him to talk and doesn't allow him to escape, right? Did you have any questions? No. Now what? It's you can still make the same segue, but the now what is, I was talking to Adam, the broker here, about the property. He loves to know what's off market. And so he was asking if I could set up a nickel tour. May I do that? Right? Could I set up a quick tour? And I'm sure when he arrives, now again, just listen, yes or no. Well, I'm sure when he arrives, he'll be able to add even more value than just the stuff that's there. He'll be able to actually give you some advice while he's there. There's no obligation. He just likes to know what's going on out there, and he loves to help people. Just keep it very light like that and see where they go. Now, let's presume that there's nothing there. We don't want a dead end. Okay, no problem. I understand. Hey, listen, you know what I was thinking is that list of properties that I had, that was just a static list that we gave you. I'm not sure I have your best email, but if you give me your best email, what I can do is put you directly into the multiple listing service, which is the source of all this information. And every time something else sells around you that would affect your value, it'll be in your email even before other realtors know about it. May I set you up on that? So that's your upsell, right? Because then we don't have a shelf that we just drop off of. We actually have information with property pictures and details that are going to him regularly that keep him updated in the market, and it gives you a reason to call. Got it?
Mhm.
Yes. Give me a better yes. Uh-huh. No. Yes. I got it.
Yes, I got it.
All right. Because that's a big next call for you. So you're going to have to be on that, okay? And you and Adam and I will talk about it a little bit more. But there we go. All right, good job. Bravo and welcome. Let me go to the rest of the group that's still here, see if there's any burning question or thoughts before we call it a day here. Thoughts, questions, comments. Adam, I don't know if you're in here or just online. Okay? Nobody? Last call.
Hey, Danny.
There you go.
I have
Danny.
Okay, Egan. Parasite. John Parasite, did I hear you too?
Yep, that's correct.
All right, John, go first. Egan, go second. Go ahead, John.
I had a listing appointment or a pre-listing appointment with some people yesterday, and I didn't feel so good about how to process going towards the close. So I wanted to just ask some questions about
Sure, cool. Go ahead, John.
the setup for it is there is a current client that I have that I do property management for, and this is her daughter that has a house that they want to sell. They're high C because they're actually not planning on selling it until June, maybe July of next year.
Yeah.
So I know this is pre-listing, and they wanted to have an idea of what to do to improve the house, but they didn't want to spend a lot of money and wanted to sell it mostly as is. It's a home that was 30 to 40 years old that has really had marginal updating at all. I'm not sure what. Normally on a listing appointment, if I was talking to them to list the house, we would be talking about, are there any other questions that I can answer before, and talk about their decision process. But when they're so far out, I'm not sure I just wanted to have a dialogue with you on what questions and what we should be speaking to them about when we're so far out from actually doing anything and signing a listing.
John, reiterate to me the timing. I think I missed it.
June or July of next year.
Okay, June or July of next year. Okay, so the solid. Well, it's inside of 12 months, so that's good news.
Sure.
Why'd they have you out so early?
They want to. I think it's because they're high C. They want to have an idea of what to do to improve the property, so
Cool.
they can try to sell it for $933 that they bought it for before the recession.
Okay, cool. So did you give them that specific advice?
Yes, we talked about that. We talked about where the market is now. We talked about seasonality. We talked about those things. So we had those things. I guess usually we would go towards trying to close, but this is so far out.
John, hold on.
Conversation.
John, it's a simple question. There's no close. There's no close. There's no close. This is exactly what I was talking about at the beginning. They're 9 months away. There's no close. All we did was plant a physical seed. Yeah, we planted a physical seed. It's the upsell. Say, okay, what we did here was I gave you a checklist of things to do. I'll check in from you to time, and I even have contractors, and I can even GC it if you need me to. But the most important thing is you want to get the 933 that you saw. You have to stay on top of what that money is actually buying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set you up in the MLS so that every time something sells, especially goes pending or sells in that range, it will be in your inbox. And from time to time, I'll call you to discuss it. So if there are things you can do to get ready at that level, we'll do them. Otherwise, we just have to stay cognizant of it. And as it comes closer, I'll come in and interpret what that means for value. So the whole idea is that's a really good prospect who needs to be on the continuity of this property and data that's coming, but set up knowing that you'll be calling frequently probably monthly to begin with, bi-weekly to get closer, and then ultimately getting back out there, right? But they have to be getting those properties and details along the way so that when you call, you're relevant about what's happening on price, because they have a goal. We want to get back to where we were, and your goal is to help them. So there's two beats. One, what's happening along the way with pricing, and how are the projects coming, period. So every time you call up, it's very specific about those things.
Okay.
Yeah, that's simple.
Okay.
That's a good John, it's a really good prospect. Really good, because it's referred in, there's trust built there, you're the property management guy. Now you elevate with that upsell offer of the continuity of information coming to them. Cool?
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, simple. I think the answer is simple. And I think the good news is you asked me a simple question, and that's what I love about systems. Oh, here's an easy answer, right? And the more of those people you could have, it's uncanny you asked me, because I started the whole conversation by saying salespeople just don't understand how valuable that creation just was. Now, if you get them the information between what to do and what's happening, and you call frequently to maintain your relationship around that stuff, that at least closes the gap of somebody else coming in and cheating them, to this, right? Don't get caught in saying, oh, it's not worth 933. Oh, it's a long stretch. That don't say, let's see what the money continues to buy, and we'll track the market together. So again, they will support what they help create. That relationship around information is what they will support and appreciate. It's true guidance in that time. Good question, John. Appreciate the ask.
Okay.
Yep. Awesome. And we'll talk more one-on-one next week about that. Okay, Egan, go ahead. I'm in bonus time here, and I got to split shortly, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yep. All right. I'll try to keep it brief. I'm looking at a scenario I've got with basically liquidating landlords, but the genesis of this lead was that you would sell the house, second lowest sale price we've had all year. But we sold the house to a school teacher friend that had a vacant house next door to us, to her. She called me in July and said, house next door went vacant. I'd like new neighbors. The tenant moving out said they might be interested in selling. Could you do me a favor and call them and see if they're interested in selling and get me a new neighbor? I said, sure, Elias, I'll help you out. So I called these landlords, and they described to me, yes, we've got actually 7 different rentals, and we've acquired all these rentals 16 to 22 years ago. They're now all owned free and clear, and they've provided great rentals over the years, but we've been through some health issues. We want to enjoy our retirement. We're just sick of messing with it. We'd really like to liquidate all of them. So they wanted me to go through in July and give them an assessment on all of them. Of course, all of them are done to rental grade. They're livable, but they're not updated owner occupied homes. There's a real lack of other sales prices, sales comps at the time that were done to similar grade. Everything else was new, granite, et cetera. We're talking all smaller, lower end properties.
I got it.
Right. So the bottom line though is that changed from, okay, we want to liquidate all of them to we want to liquidate, our accountant said we should only liquidate 1 or 2 a year, and we want you to start with the most valuable one.
Good.
Go on that one.
Good.
Well, then we put that in the market in July, and then they proceeded to be incredibly difficult. This is our retirement. This is, we don't need to sell, blah, 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 push to the higher end of the range and beyond. The analysis in that first one, I told them, indicated a value, so we might be able to push a little bit higher. They wanted to go even higher than that. Bottom line, 74 days, which is pretty lengthy time for our market, extensive gnashing of teeth, 40 plus showings. We get it under contract. And then also 10 days into it, I said, look, we targeted this price. We need to be 5% lower based on this awkward floor plan.
Chris, you're regressing. You got much further down the road. You put it under contract, was screaming in my ears. Take me there.
We put it under contract. That one is going through. The challenge I'm now having is with the next one, because the next one, they're saying, okay, we're ready to list our second one. I said, okay, great. The value is here. They're saying, no, we want 37.5% more than that, without citing specific numbers. And
Chris, on the first one, did you get reductions? Chris, hold on. On the first one, did you get reductions?
we got 2 reductions over a 7
Okay, there you go.
period.
Chris, keep going with them. You're it's too much national.
Okay.
It's one dealitis. They had a process. It's a little bit slow for you, but it's not that slow. And they gave you they were listening. They gave you the price reductions, and you got it under contract. Do it again. It's the best advice I can give you. Just do it again. Just do it again.
Even if they want 38% above.
Dude, just say, they already trust you. Say this is 38% above, okay? So don't sit and club me over the head when in 10 days we can hear crickets. In 30 days, we can hear crickets, okay? Don't tell me it's my marketing. Don't tell me it's the market. Like, just, I'll let you have your process because you've been good to me. But I just have to define expectations up front. Don't come and beat me up over it. I'll do it for you. But you know what I'm going to say? If there's crickets, I'm coming for the price reduction as we move down into where it should be. Period.
Got it.
Yeah, again, another
So
logical.
You would not mess with post-dated price reductions.
No, Chris. Trying to control somebody who just was good to you. They gave you a property. They gave you 2 price reductions, and you put it under agreement. This isn't that thing.
Okay.
These are clients that are good clients. I mean, yeah, they got a delusion. They're scared, whatever. Just let them have a process. And don't get such one dealitis. Go find 5 other properties while you're going through this. You know there's the holy grails at the end of this process with them. They just proved it to you.
Yeah.
And they got a whole bunch more, bud.
Okay.
It's called an account. Be patient.
Right.
Nice work.
Got it. All right. Thanks for the perspective.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Well, I understand, and I don't mean to always cut you guys off so quickly, but I hear, knowing you, and I love you guys, and especially like you and John, I know you well. Just stop, and Tanyelle, that's why I said you're getting too dramatic. Just stop all the noise and let's go to the logic of the situation. In John's case, beautiful, super prospect. Upsell them to this and check in from time to time. Same thing with Tanyelle and you. One dealitis. You're trying to move them along when you're doing, both of you doing a great job with relationship, and they have a real need to sell. Just let them have their process, but get off of that deal and get somebody else in there too, right?
Right. Yep.
Just
right.
you know what the charted course is with these people. Follow the course. I mean, if it doesn't follow a similar course to the first one, then bring it back to the sales training call. Let's rap about it then. But in the meantime, follow the yellow brick road with them.
Don't fight them. Don't burn calories. List it.
No, but be honest with them. Be brutally honest with them. Say, look, this one's 38%. The last one was only 25%. You gave me the 2 reductions. Okay, so we're going in the total opposite direction. But I love you. You were good to me. But I got to tell you the truth. It's a stretch, and don't beat me up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just be honest.
Right.
Cool.
Gotcha.
Good job.
All right. Sounds great.
All right.
Thanks, man.
All right, everybody. Listen, I'm over time, and I am out of time. So I appreciate you all participating today. That was really good. Lots of good anecdotes because I had 4 different people speak up. That's helpful. That's the way we run a sales training call. Have a fabulous weekend. Use this stuff in the field and bring it back to me next week, and we'll talk about it then. See you later. Thank you.
Thanks, Danny.
You're welcome. You bet. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Danny. Thank you.
You're welcome. You bet. Thank you for participating.